Ever wondered who's behind the scenes protecting companies from cyber attacks? That's where the Security Operations Center, or SOC, comes in. Think of it as a digital fortress, constantly monitoring and defending against threats.
And at the heart of that fortress are SOC analysts. They're the first responders, the detectives, the cybersecurity heroes who work tirelessly to keep our data safe. Their role is absolutely critical in today's digital landscape where cyber threats are constantly evolving.
Exactly. Now, there are different levels of SOC analysts, generally categorized as L1, L2, and L3. L1 analysts are usually the first line of defense, triaging alerts and identifying potential incidents. They use tools like SIEMs, security information and event management systems, to correlate data and spot anomalies.
Then you have L2 analysts who dig deeper into the incidents flagged by L1. They conduct more in-depth investigations, analyze malware, and develop containment strategies. Finally, L3 analysts are the seasoned experts, often with specialized skills in areas like forensics or reverse engineering. They handle the most complex incidents and provide guidance to the other tiers. It's a career path with lots of room to grow.
All right, let's dive into a SOC analyst's morning. First thing, triage. Imagine a doctor in an emergency room. We're checking the ticketing system, our queue of alerts, for anything new.
And it's not just about quantity, right? It's about severity. We're looking at the potential impact. Is it a low-level phishing attempt or a potential ransomware attack?
Exactly. We use a SIEM, or Security Information and Event Management System, like Splunk or QRadar. Think of it as our central nervous system, aggregating logs and events from across the network.
Then there's threat intelligence. We're constantly reviewing reports from vendors and security communities. What new malware is circulating? What vulnerabilities are being exploited? It's like reading the news, but for cyber threats.
And that intel helps us prioritize. An alert about a known exploit being used against a vulnerable system jumps to the top of the list. It's all about risk assessment. Risk equals likelihood times impact. We need to act fast on high-risk items. All right, alert triage. Think of it like the ER of cybersecurity. We're bombarded with alerts, and we need to quickly decide which ones are critical and which are just noise.
Exactly. A big part of that is distinguishing between false positives and genuine threats. A false positive is like a smoke alarm going off when you're just toasting bread. Annoying, but not a real fire.
So how do we tell the difference? First, we check the logs. Did the suspicious activity actually happen? Then we look at network traffic. Is data flowing to a known bad IP address?
And don't forget endpoint data. What was the user doing at the time? What processes were running? Let's say we see a suspicious login attempt from Russia.
Okay, first, check if the user was actually traveling. If not, that's a red flag. Then look for unusual activity after the login. Did they immediately try to access sensitive files? That's when we escalate. Okay, so we've confirmed a security incident. Now what? Time to dig deeper. We use techniques like packet capture analysis. Think of it like intercepting and examining network traffic, like reading the addresses on envelopes to see where data is going.
And sometimes we need to do basic malware analysis. It's like being a digital detective, looking for clues in suspicious files to understand what they do and how they do it. We might use tools to run the file in a safe environment, a sandbox, to observe its behavior.
Don't forget vulnerability scanning. This is like checking all the doors and windows of a building for weaknesses. We use automated tools to identify potential security holes in our systems.
But how do we know when to call in the big guns? Escalation happens when an incident exceeds our capabilities or scope. Maybe it's a widespread ransomware attack or a sophisticated threat actor. We escalate to senior analysts or the incident response team when we need more expertise or resources to handle the situation effectively. It's all about knowing our limits and protecting the organization.
Teamwork is everything in the SOC. Think of us as a pit crew during a race. Everyone has a role, and communication is key to a fast response.
Exactly. We're constantly sharing intel. If I see a phishing campaign targeting accounting, I immediately flag it for the whole team on Slack.
And it's not just internal. We work closely with IT to implement security patches and with legal when an incident has potential legal ramifications.
Documentation is also crucial. We meticulously record every step we take during an investigation. This creates a knowledge base for future incidents and helps with compliance.
Imagine a scenario. A server is compromised. We use our communication platform to loop in the server team, providing them with the IOCs, indicators of compromise, like IP addresses and file hashes.
Then, legal gets involved to assess potential data breaches and reporting requirements. It's a coordinated effort, ensuring all bases are covered.
Effective communication isn't just about speed, it's about clarity and accuracy. We use standardized reporting formats to ensure everyone is on the same page.
Ultimately, a well-oiled SOC relies on seamless collaboration and open communication channels. It's how we stay ahead of the threats.
Let's talk threat hunting, Alex. It's not just reacting, it's proactively seeking threats. Think of it like digital detective work.
Exactly. We use threat intelligence, that's data about known attackers, their tools and techniques, to form hypotheses. For example, if we see a spike in outbound traffic to a country known for malware hosting, that's a red flag.
And that's where anomaly detection comes in. We establish a baseline of normal network behavior. Anything that deviates significantly, a user accessing files they usually don't, or a server communicating on an unusual port, gets flagged.
We then investigate these anomalies. We might search for indicators of compromise, or IOCs. These are digital fingerprints of an attack, specific file hashes, IP addresses, or registry keys.
Think of it like this. If your house has been robbed, you look for signs, a broken window, footprints. IOCs are the digital equivalent. We use tools to scan our systems for these IOCs, helping us identify and contain potential breaches before they cause major damage. It's about staying one step ahead. All right, Alex, let's talk about the unsung heroes of the SOC, security tools. It's not all threat hunting. A big part is keeping our defenses sharp.
Exactly, Morgan. Think of it like this. Our security tools are like a Formula One race car. They're powerful, but they need constant maintenance to perform optimally. We're the pit crew.
So what does that maintenance look like?
First, updates. We're constantly patching software, updating signature databases for our antivirus, intrusion detection systems, the whole 9 yards. Outdated tools are like leaving the door open for attackers.
And it's not just about installing updates, right? Configuration is key.
Absolutely. We need to fine-tune each tool to our specific environment. Think about setting custom rules in our SIEM, security information and event management. It's like teaching it what normal looks like so it can flag anomalies.
What happens when something breaks?
Troubleshooting. We dive into logs, run diagnostics, and try to isolate the problem. Sometimes it's a simple configuration error, other times it's a bug in the software. That's when we reach out to the vendor for support.
So it's a mix of technical skills and vendor management.
Precisely. We need to understand how these tools work, troubleshoot issues, and communicate effectively with vendors to get things resolved quickly. It's all part of keeping our security posture strong.
All right, Alex, let's talk documentation. It's not the most glamorous part of the job, but it's absolutely crucial.
You got it. Think of it like this. If an alert goes off in the middle of the night, clear documentation is your best friend. We need to know exactly what happened, what we did, and why.
Exactly. We create incident reports detailing security events, vulnerability assessments outlining weaknesses, and security metrics reports tracking our overall security posture.
And these reports aren't just for us. They inform management decisions, help improve security protocols, and even assist in compliance audits. For example, a vulnerability assessment might reveal a critical system running outdated software.
Which then leads to a patching plan, documented and tracked, of course. Think of it as building a strong foundation. Good documentation ensures everyone's on the same page and helps us learn from past incidents to prevent future ones. It's how we continuously improve. All right, Alex, so we've talked about the daily grind, but what about keeping our skills sharp? Cybersecurity is a constantly evolving battlefield.
Absolutely, Morgan. Continuous learning is key. Think of it like this. New vulnerabilities are discovered daily, right? It's like a game of whack-a-mole.
Exactly. So how do we stay ahead? What resources do you use?
Online courses are a great start. Platforms like Coursera, Udemy, and SANS offer specialized training. Certifications like CompTIA Security Plus or CISSP are also valuable. They validate your knowledge and demonstrate expertise.
Good point. Certifications are like leveling up in a game. What about staying updated on the latest threats?
Industry conferences are fantastic for networking and learning about emerging threats. Black Hat and DEF CON are popular, but there are many others. Also, subscribing to threat intelligence feeds and security blogs keeps you informed.
So it's a mix of formal training, certifications, and staying plugged into the community. It sounds like a lot, but it's essential for staying effective.
It is. Think of it as an investment in your career and the security of your organization. The more you learn, the better you can defend against those ever-evolving threats.
Being a SOC analyst is definitely a high-pressure gig. You're constantly racing against the clock, right? Like a digital firefighter putting out blazes.
Absolutely. The learning curve is steep. New threats emerge daily, so you're always researching, testing, and adapting. It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube that keeps changing colors.
And the responsibility, knowing that you're the first line of defense against attacks that could cripple an organization, that weighs on you. Imagine the impact of a successful ransomware attack.
But that's also where the reward comes in. That feeling when you successfully identify and neutralize a threat, it's incredible. You've directly protected the company, its data, its reputation.
It's like finding the needle in a haystack, except the needle is a malicious piece of code. And knowing you prevented a disaster, that's a huge win.
Plus, you're constantly growing. You develop a deep understanding of network protocols, operating systems, attack vectors. It's a fascinating field.
It's not just about technical skills either. You need strong analytical abilities, problem-solving skills, and the ability to communicate effectively under pressure.
Exactly. It's a challenging job, no doubt, but the satisfaction of making a real difference in an organization's security posture is incredibly rewarding.